How's it going, Squirtle?
Doing well. Having a good day going into the evening. What about yourself?
It's going well. It's going well. How are you doing, Matthew?
Dude, I've had a fantastic day. I had a very, very good day. I'm not really been working on a script. I'm going to try to direct something this spring. And so I finished the draft. And so I get to turn it over and it can go away now. And I'm very excited about that. So, and it was a beautiful day. I'm in Southern California. It was like 80 degrees. Not to be a dick, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, I'll be flying out to California tomorrow, actually. So, I'll be getting out of the cold weather for a little bit.
Well, it is picture perfect out here. So, where are you guys?
So I'm out in Colorado, which also I'm excited about East Denver here in like a week.
Oh, right.
And then I'm based in Iowa City, Iowa, so middle of the Midwest. My business partner in San Diego, though, so I visit San Diego quite a bit.
Oh, nice. I almost went to the University of Iowa. Funny enough. I still have my student ID from when I never went there.
Wait, you got an ID and then didn't go? How'd that happen?
Like orientation weekend, and then I was asking about the film school, and no one could answer any questions. And so, like, I just told my parents, I was like, I don't think I want to go here, and I ended up going to film school in Chicago instead at like the last minute because they didn't start for another month. So, yeah, it's quite. I felt bad because my best friend Mike Mulcrown ended up going to Iowa, and I was really sad because he missed me.
Poor Mike.
I know he wound up in temp housing, and he had a bunk bed with my name on it, and he's like, "This was my best friend. He was supposed to be here."
You just bailed out of your buddy. Yeah. Good job.
It was a party school. I'm not a big partier. It would have been for me.
Well, we were talking about where we're going to throw our first in real life party for the Midnite Movie Club.
Oh.
And we're talking about being in the middle of the country so everyone can get there.
Yeah.
So we may end up in Iowa yet.
There you go. Come on through. The people are good.
Hell yeah.
Also, so we got Phil up here. So Phil is he's a huge part of the DeadHeads community. He's the community manager. He's on the team, everything like that. He also is amazing at running spaces. So I want to make sure to introduce Phil. Phil, how's it going?
Hey, Phil.
Man? Yo, what's up? Okay, here's the real wild thing. I'm from Iowa. I didn't know that, Poner. I did not know that in Iowa City. I'm from a small town, Manchester, Iowa. It's like an hour straight north of Iowa City. That's where I grew up. I now currently live in Dallas-Fort Worth, but this is like my mind was just blown as we were all talking about Iowa and the University of Iowa. My dad went to the University of Iowa, so I'm a Hawkeye fan.
Nice.
And so my mind was blown for the last 2 minutes. So again, welcome and nice to meet y'all.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
I do think that there's a whole Midwest vibe going on because I grew up in Detroit. We have Iowa, we have Chicago, it's all covered. We got the Midwest covered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think with this whole Spaces tonight, there's a lot of commonality between, the two projects that would be Midnite Movie Club and DeadHeads, and then we got EARC here as well, which is awesome. I mean, like this whole theme of like decentralized Hollywood and how NFTs are going to be entering into basically just like the entire multimedia space as a whole, and we're kind of seeing like these early inroads into it right now. So I mean, I'm just kind of stoked to get your all's side and your opinion and like what you all are building and to learn from you all, like what you're doing. And then from our side, what we've been doing over at DeadHeads.
Well, great. We'll jump in. So my name is Matthew Lillard. I've spent my last 30 years of my life as a professional actor. This is my partner, Bill. We, on December 27th, decided to start the Midnite Movie Club. And basically, the idea is...
21st. It was the 21st when we had coffee.
My bad. The 21st.
It's like a year in NFT time.
There you go. And we decided to come together to create the first decentralized movie studio. So the idea is that we will mint sometime this month. That money will go back in the community wallet. That wallet will be used to make feature-length films. Are you making tea? Somebody's making breakfast.
Oh, that's me. I'm putting my
Mute, homie, mute.
I'll mute it.
So our goal is that we'll be making with the money we mint, with the ETH we mint, we'll be making 3 feature-length films. That's all dependent on ETH and this price. But our whole point of view is that can you bring utility and community to the world of NFTs? So we're super focused on creating an experience where if you come to our community, it's about being a part of the filmmaking process. Every step of the way, we're going to go to the community and ask for a DAO vote to sort of decide, early on. So we'll start making a movie in April. So we have a movie already teed up that will go right into pre-production as soon as we mint. And all through that process, from casting to wardrobe to the music that's in the movie, all of that will be presented to the community to vote on. All of it will be approved by the director, but active engagement all the way through, from like behind the scenes, from AMAs, like for the cast, like all the way through, you'll be a part of the project. And then on top of that, we've created something, and you can see all this is laid out in the white papers. But we've created something called Night School. So if you are anywhere in the world and you're interested in the film and television industry, then we are going to create opportunities for you to learn within our community. So we'll create a school process where you can come, and we'll do, AMAs with industry professionals. I'll do master acting classes. We'll do directing classes. We'll put writers with writers, and they'll have like a writers group. We'll then smash writers with directors and see what comes out of that. We'll host film festivals. So everything around cinema, making movies, being a part of the industry is what we're going to create. And so we're really excited. We're both docs. We both put our names on it. Everything's going back into the community. And our whole thing is like, can you create value through action? And that's what we plan to do. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
There you go.
So I got a quick question for you guys, because again, I don't know a ton about the project, and obviously you guys haven't launched yet. But from coming from your typical Hollywood scene, what's the draw to NFT land and a decentralized nature of this filmmaking?
Yeah, so I got into NFTs. I mean, I heard about them back in March of last year, when everybody was talking about them and everything was going crazy. And I didn't really get into them until Sneaky Vamps was the first project that I found and got on the whitelist and minted for. And it was actually seeing like their example of bringing utility to it. Because I just, again, like everyone else, thought, oh, these are just expensive JPEGs. It's a great way for artists to sell their art, coming from the art world and seeing how like the residuals worked and all the royalties and stuff. I thought that was like revolutionary. But then when I found out there was all this other underlying technology where you could do a DAO vote and bring all sorts of different access for your community members, that's where I started to see where the potential for this was for filmmaking. Because one of the things that always bothered me about Kickstarter, and the reason I never kickstarted a film, was you expect people to like give you money, you go make the movie, give them a t-shirt, put their name in the credits, and then call it a day. Well, I just never felt like right doing that. I'm like, I want people to be involved. I want people to be able to participate, and seeing that you could do that with a DAO, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is a great way to both like let the community come in, bring some value to them, bring some utility to them. They'll help you kind of fundraise to do the movies. And then also a big thing was not trying to just do one movie and then being one and done. To me, this is like a long-term project. That's why we call it, like we say, we're a movie studio, because we're not just planning to do one film and call it a day. Like we want this thing to become a machine that keeps running itself. So the profits from the movie will go back into the community wallet so we can fund future films. And, down the road, like we want to have it where our community members can be submitting their projects and actually we'll be producing that. But because one of the major things is as we move on, like we have one film ready to go, but down the road, we have it set up where we'll bring in like 3 to 5 filmmakers. They'll pitch their project to the community. We'll do like a little video, maybe some script pages. They'll have a lookbook. And then the community is going to vote on which film they want to make. And then whatever film gets selected, that's what gets greenlit and funded by the community wallet. And we go into production. Just all those abilities to be able to offer people stuff. Because when I went to film school, I mean, that stuff's expensive. And I didn't even go to like one of the most expensive schools. But, it's just like this crippling debt. And, now there's just so much more access with YouTube and stuff. So it's a great way for us to be able to expand upon that and like do these like fireside chat AMAs with professionals where we bring them to our community. People can ask questions to actual art department people, like production designers. If you want to talk to an agent, a casting person, whatever questions, we want to bring them together with our community so our community can have access, even if you're living in the middle of Iowa. It's funny because Iowa is always like the example I give where it's like someone who's a teacher in Iowa can now participate and vote on a movie. That movie will get made and they'll get to like watch it with friends and family and be like, oh, I had a part of that. Like,
yeah. And look, and listen, Hollywood kind of sucks. Right? I mean, Hollywood's broken in a lot of ways. You've got a bunch of people making Marvel movies. I love Marvel movies. My kids love Marvel movies. Those are billion-dollar industry, gigantic Titanic movies. To make small movies is really difficult because everyone in the film business is only in it for profit. So they're making movies that they think can hit the most quadrants as possible. So our take is that we're doing genre films, we're doing horror movies, sci-fi, thrillers, and we are going to, let the people that like those movies choose which movies to make and how to make them. So,
we just want to make movies fun again. Like I miss like going to a movie and just having a good time. Like I want to see like 90-minute movies. I don't want to spend 2.5 hours to watch a movie that's just okay. Right now TV is crushing it. Everybody's watching, a million different series that they're binging, but nobody's watching movies. I mean, even when I brought this project up to Matt, I was like, yeah, you know how like terrible movies are these days? He's like, dude, honestly, like I haven't been watching movies. I was like, why not? He's like, because they're not good. I'm like, exactly. And that's why we're going to change things. We can make good movies again. Like,
yeah. So that's the idea.
I actually kind of want to stick on, just kind of talk about the DAO involved with this, because this is something like over at DeadHeads that we've talked about as well, is like implementing a DAO for the community to really be able to get involved with the voting, right?
Yeah.
Because it is like you're the people who are most invested in what you are making will have, a larger vote and everything like that. And I'm very curious to see how this plays out in the future, because we haven't really, I can't think of a model like this in the past with any type of like multimedia, production. Where the community gets to really drive the decisions. I'm curious from your side as well if you've seen anything close to this, but how do you think like a DAO model is going to play out with creating like in this like creative space?
Yeah. So the way we kind of have it, we envision it is, everything's still going to go through the filmmakers. So it's not like we're pulling the creative decisions completely away from the filmmaker, because at the end of the day, it's their movie, it's their story to tell. But what this allows is like, the filmmaker can they can curate the choices, right? So let's say, let's talk about wardrobe. If the character has like a specific wardrobe they're wearing through the movie, the director can pick like 3, 4, 5 options, put that up for a DAO vote. They might pick 3 people that they want to cast for a lead role, but then they'll go to the community and say, hey, who do you guys want to see in this film as like this role? Like there's no guarantee this person will say yes. Obviously we're just going to make an offer, but and then we'll go by the DAO vote and they'll go in order of like, well, this person had the most votes, this was second, and kind of go through that way. Same goes for things like if we have a couple different styles of one sheet posters for the movie, for advertising, we might say, hey, like, what do you guys like? What do you think best kind of appeals to you guys? They'll be able to vote on that. So yeah, it's going to be like curated decisions, and it'll be like creative focused, all those decisions.
And we haven't seen anything like it. I mean, that's the truth. The truth of the matter is, and why we find it super exciting is we're the first people that we know of in this space. There are people out there like, financing movies on NFTs, and in return you get like a collectible JPEG or a token.
Yeah, or not even like some of them are just doing collectibles. Like I refer to it all the time. Like there was like one for like the Matrix. There's a bunch of other ones that are kind of dropping these collectible NFTs, but they don't feel genuine. They feel like a little bit like cash grabs. Like it's like, hey, buy this digital thing because it's popular right now, but they don't really understand like what, the word utility never comes up for it actually being useful for anything. And yeah, most of the time it's coming out before the movie's even out, so you don't even know if it's going to be a good movie. Like, is it something you really want to collect? So yeah, we just want to take it to the next level. And again, we're a very utility-forward project. Like that's our main focus: is what can we give to the community to make this more as useful as possible to them.
So it sounds like your like membership, like movie club NFT is like the way for the community to really like grasp on to getting involved with everything that's being made, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's like the key to the kingdom, as we say. It's like your membership gets you in, it lets you vote, gives you access to all of the exclusive events that we'll have and stuff like that. So,
and ideally, look, in success, right? I mean, we curate within our own community music. We curate within our own community the T-shirt that the lead wears in the entire movie. That's designed by our community.
Art department stuff, all kinds of things.
Yeah, the more we grow and the more we sort of figure this out, because look, our name's on it was never been done, and we are going to figure shit out as fast as it's presented to us. And our North Star is always come back to community. And what does the community want, and what makes it fun, right? Because that's the whole idea. The reason our NFT is gonna be successful is that we're gonna build something that people have a fucking good time, and it's based around this thing that people sort of look. I'm in a horror movie called Scream. If people don't know that, I'm in Scream. Spoiler alert, I was the first killer in the Scream 1. Sorry to ruin that for you. But look, if you build things, here's our belief, right? If you build things for niche audiences, if you build something that nobody else is really building stuff for, then the people that want it will come and find it. And that's our hope. Our hope is that if you're out there, you love horror movies, you love thrillers, you love movies, then you'll come hang out in our space and be actively a part of creating that content. Yeah. But I think this is outside of our project, right? I mean, if you go wider, I mean, we don't have to talk about Midnight Movie Club the whole time, but wider, like this is where the world's going. Like music NFTs are going to change the world. Bill, your microphone's so loud.
Is it?
It's
I'm
so
not
loud.
doing anything.
It's literally picking up everything. It feels. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, it just feels like, hey, if you can mint an album, right, and you have the fans to support that minting, that's a direct win for an artist, and you will take home in perpetuity the royalties of that album directly, and you'll cut out everything that goes on with a label. Like the more that happens, the more you empower artists, the more you empower people on a journey and build community around what they're doing. I think that is the next generation. I think that's when NFTs really take off and become, onboarded worldwide.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, like over at DeadHeads, our whole model is like the community owns the characters in the show, right? And you get to be extremely creative with all that IP that it's owned by the community and grow it out. People get to have fun. They get to work together. They get to create stuff. But like I'm a firm believer. I don't think it's that controversial at all. That like when people are having fun, they make the best product at the end of the day. And like that hasn't been around for a bit, and I think this is a really unique way that people can like have that connection in between each other also.
So why did you guys start DeadHeads? How did it start? Sorry if everyone in the audience knows. I don't.
No. Actually, Poner, I think you described this origin story the best over there.
Yeah, so it really comes down to being able to use NFTs as a storytelling mechanism. And so that's the thing that Jeremy and Tempo talk about a lot, is really being able to bring the audience along with the journey and allow them to have pieces of that story as they move along. So obviously the IP rights and ownership is something that's driven DeadHeads from the start, is being able to have, the way they describe it is if you were able to own R2-D2 before R2-D2 was as iconic as it is, and actually have the licensing rights with that, like what you'd be able to do with that as a person that owns that. So just as an example of that, during episode 3 of the animated series, we introduced Skull Troopers. And so simultaneously, we allowed people to mint those villains of the Deadhead universe. So now we kind of have that paradox between Deadheads and then Skull Troopers, and people being able to have pieces of the story as it unfolds. Another cool example is we have something called the Green Room. So after every episode, we mint the props from the show itself. So, in episode 1, we launched the main character up in a rocket that we said was owned by Jeff Bezos. So people were able to mint kind of that rocket as a prop and as a collectible item, essentially.
Oh, that's awesome.
So really that's been the driving factor, is that IP ownership and then being able to include people in the process of the narrative, and as things unfold, be able to allow the community to own that story and the mechanisms of telling that story.
Right on. And now, so if you go to a DAO, I mean, is that in your plans, like actively in your plans, the idea of bringing them into sort of the actual creative process, like almost like a choose your own adventure? Like, how do you see that working for you guys?
Yeah, it's such a interesting balance that I think everyone's trying to figure out, right? Is like, how much do you centralize for the creative process, and how much do you leave open for the community to really like have an impact on like what is being made, right? And with the DAO, our main idea with the DAO, I guess, would be to utilize our ecosystem token and then really kind of play into that like choose your own adventure type of scenario with the community, where they can kind of choose the paths that the story goes down in the future. Right now, it is a staking mechanism. So if you want to be, if you want to have your NFT in the show, and all the characters in the show are the NFTs, you have to stake your deadhead to be, it gives the team the right to use your NFT. And you still own the IP at the end of the day.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
I think sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Just one more point that I think is really interesting is kind of like an idea that'll unfold in the future is the ability to bring in other NFT projects and ones that have given IP ownership to the holders. You know, all people can really do right now is like make collectibles, make derivative pieces of art, put it on a shirt. Like that's what owning your IP is right now. The concept that we're playing around with is, what if you're able to, you know, stake your Bored Ape, earn the utility token in the DeadHeads universe, allow the DeadHeads team to cast that in an episode, and now by staking it and letting us use the IP rights, we're building something with your ape and making that ape popularized.
Oh, that's super cool. So staking other people's NFTs in your space is pretty. Has that been done before? So just so everyone knows, everyone should understand. Like, I started on December 21st understanding anything about NFTs. So has that been done before?
Not necessarily. I don't think.
There's been a couple, like, I've seen people offer that, but like just random unknown, like, and I've been very skeptical. I would trust somebody who's established, like DeadHeads, to do something like that, right? Or, you know, Sneaky Vampires. Like if they were to offer something like this, you know, I would trust them versus just like, you know, I've seen some other, like, I don't even think they have a project and they're just trying to offer staking and rewards to people. So no, I don't think anybody's done it legitly yet.
That's a super cool idea. Yeah, and just going back to the create. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I just wanted to introduce Jeremy, who we got up here as well, who is one of the co-founders of DeadHeads. I just wanted to give you a nice little introduction there, man.
Oh,
hey, Jeremy.
Thanks so much. Hey.
Hey, what's up, Jeremy?
I've been hearing about you, learned about you all week, Matthew. We at DeadHeads were just really happy to have you in the spaces, and I was out and about tonight, but I knew that even with my phone dying, I had to jump in here for a minute. And
well, dude, thank you for having us. I have to tell you, it's like, you know, it's been super humbling for us because, you know, we're just a little backstory. You know, we launched 4 weeks ago now, and I was like, I went to Twitter, and I'm like, I have been really lucky in the world in terms of like, I've just had a really great career, and I think that people like me, and I'm used to being like nice guy Matthew Lillard. I'm your Shaggy. Like, you can't be angry at me for very long. But then I launched with a Twitter, like, you know, hey, good morning, let's go, it's F and G. And I got just thousands of hate tweets, just like, you're ruining the world, you're the worst. And look, in the next 24 hours, I'm like, oh my God, maybe I am the worst. Maybe everyone hates me now. And like, we sort of like 34 people showed up for our Discord, and I was like, oh, this may be a bust. We may have made a mistake.
Yeah, I thought that I like tanked Matthew Lillard's career in like one day. I was like, oh my god, what did I just do? Because I was getting all the tweets because I was like copied on it, or I was tagged in it. So I was just like, oh man, I just ruined his career. He's gonna kill me.
It was brutal, and I don't like being the guy that everyone hates. It was really brutal.
The NFT space is tough, man. It's a tough,
yeah.
And 34 is better than 0. And at
That's
the end of the
true.
day, like people like to gatekeep NFTs while also saying we want as many people to enter the space as humanly possible.
That's true. It is.
Yeah.
but I will say, so this event, like events like this, have been like game changers for us, dude. I mean, we're on fire right now, and if it's not for people opening, the thing I will say is I've yet to find somebody that we've connected to in a real way that isn't like, whatever you need, we're here to help. Let's fucking go. Let's make something awesome. And so we are super grateful to be in the space with you. We're so thankful that you've invited us, and we're just really, really, really lucky.
And again, like
we're so thankful you're here. We're so thankful you're here. Are you kidding me right now?
That's a symbiotic relationship. It's good for you. It's good for me.
Yeah, it was crazy that first week because again, I'd been in crypto Twitter and NFT Twitter so much where everyone's all nice and understands NFTs, but the second we stepped out into the real world, we just got hammered. So it was a wake up call. We're like, oh yeah, I forgot. Not everybody loves NFTs. Let's go back into our safe space.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here and everything's good, and we're finding good people, and it's been great.
Yeah.
So I actually have another question for y'all about your project. So you're dropping it looks like 5,555 NFTs. Is that going to be the amount you're going to drop forever? Do you have plans on expanding it as time goes on? Say like this whole like decentralized movie production, like movie studio thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Do you plan on expanding it at all, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so this is just kind of like the Gen 1, we want to get people in there, we want to make sure that, there's interest in it. So we kind of wanted to keep a low supply, but we don't want to be a closed community. We want this to be open and available for more people as we grow. And we've talked about it, with the community where, we want to really, do a generation 2. We want to bring in like an artist. I want to say actual artist because I'm drawing these right now, but I'm not really like a trained artist, but it'd be nice to feature somebody and their artwork and bring on somebody else for that aspect. But also, again, like we want to be able to do more movies or bigger budgets, preferably, which would be nice. So doing like another round of NFTs would help us like kind of like take it up a notch. Cause in the film world, there's different tiers is what it's called. There's like different levels of budget ranges and different rules you have to follow depending on if you're like a micro budget, if you're a low budget. The ultra low budget. There's so many different tiers in terms of the union. So it'd be nice for us to be able to like bump up and make bigger movies as they become more successful. So yeah, we definitely have plans to expand the community, do another set. Again, we're following, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. People like Sneaky Vamps and seeing how they did it, where they did their generation 1. Now they're bringing in the female vamps and they're doing a bigger collection and they're expanding their community. So yeah, we're definitely planning to grow as the project grows.
In terms of this is one question that the great Roy Price in the audience once asked us at DeadHeads, and he said, in terms of when you're like fundraising for media content, and there's such a long lead time. At DeadHeads, we've experienced months for some of these episodes because the quality of them. How are you guys planning to kind of feed the beast, as it were, in between the content as it comes out?
Great question.
Great question. Absolutely. Oh
yeah. Well, just two things. So the first thing is we immediately go into action, right? We immediately greenlight a movie and we start shooting so that you're actively involved in every step of the process. So you're engaged, you're watching dailies, you're doing, live streams from the set, you're looking at rushes, you're looking at early cuts of scenes. Like, so I think you're engaged that way. And then look, part of our whole thing is like, can you, as an actor, as an artist, you guys know, as artists, to travel alone as an artist is really hard, right? If you want to be an actor, if you want to be a writer, director, whatever your journey is, whether you're a singer, songwriter, a painter, I don't care what it is, it's super hard to do it alone. So our belief is that if you can create fellowship in the Discord, if you can create community, that you will continually find ways to have people engaged outside of the movie. The movie's great. But if you can say, hey, I have a mentor writing program that's starting next month. We're going to do 5 weeks every week you have to turn in pages so that you're creating an opportunity for people to connect that will help you continue on your artistic journey. Because that's the thing that kills that's the thing that kills an artist, right? It's not, oh, I don't like working. It's what do you do in the times in between the work? And so our belief is that if you can build, like, everyone wants fellowship. The thing that's, the reason the Discord's popping off is because, like, you're making friends. That's the thing I never understood until I got into this, is that, oh, I'm making friends. I mean, I can look out there and, like, Crisis is a friend, OG's a friend. Like, I don't know, I've never met them, but I care about them because we're sitting there online. It's a really crazy thing. So I think that's my answer. Providing night school and providing opportunity for people to connect.
Absolutely, yeah, because that was a big thing when we talked to other people in the movie industry where they're like, oh, you know how long it takes to make a film? People aren't going to stick around for that long. And our whole thing is, well, they are, because they're going to be there the whole step of the way. It's not like Kickstarter where you disappear, go make a movie, and then come back months later and go, look what we got. Like, they're going to be seeing everything. Again, we're going to have classes, night school stuff. We're going to be bringing people on for AMAs. It's just going to be very active. And, like, the movie stuff's going to be going on concurrently with all that stuff. It's not like two separate stages. So, yeah, we just want to, again, foster the next generation of filmmakers. So the more we can do that, in all the meantime, like, the better. Like, we're going to be doing more movie nights, trivia nights. Like, all those things will be things that will be going on while we're actually making a movie.
I did want to take a moment to, like, just give you your flowers, Matt, for the way that you are approaching this, because we've been in the NFT space for a while, and we've seen, like, celebrity or these high profile people come in and they attach their name to a project, but they're not really interested in growing a community or being part of the community, right? And you're fully, like, you're into it, man. Like, this is just so awesome to hear, and you're getting it too. Like, it's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, somebody, we had a friend of ours call us today and was like, hey, I'm really worried about you. I'm worried that you're exposed. And I'm like, I am exposed. That's the best part, is that, like, my name's on it. My face is on it. My reputation as a human being, as a man, is on this thing. Same with Bill. Like, our whole thing is, like, the only way we go south, the only way we fail, is that if I run off with money or he runs off with money and we don't make movies. And that's just never going to happen. So, and look, and my whole thing is, like, when it comes to the Twitter of it all, like, we're both from the Midwest. And our whole approach on this shit is, like, we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to do it. We don't have all the answers. Like, we are telling you everything we know as we think it is happening. Like, as we're creating this, we're telling you everything we think we know. There's going to be so many moments that change. But the one through element is that we're not going anywhere. Right? I mean, we're in this for the long run, and I don't know. We're excited about making movies for the next 20 years.
Yeah, and I just have to chime in and say how lucky I am that Matt is this cool, because that day one when all those negative tweets were coming in, like, any other celebrity would have just pulled the ripcord, ran off and be like, nope, I gotta look out for my career. And, like, I called Matt. I'm like, do you want to stop this? What's going on? Like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, fuck no. He's like, forget those people. It's like 40 people, like, that are haters. He's like, this is the future. Like blockchain, Web3, all that stuff. He's like, we're moving forward, dude. I was like, okay, good, cool. So I picked the right person, and yeah, just every step of the way, it's just been amazing. Like, it's not just him slapping his name on it and disappearing. It's like, we're in the Twitter every day. The Discord every day, chatting with everybody. Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, I think, again, I'm so lucky to have Matt.
By the way, thank you for the flowers. I should have started by saying thank you for the flowers, because, it's nice. Again, you're trying to do shit that's different. So every now and then, like, when somebody gives you when somebody validates what you're trying to achieve and you're trying to achieve something really awesome, it's, like, empowering. And I think it's one of those things. Like, I became an actor not because I was the best actor in my, in my community, is because enough adults, like, gave me a pat on the ass and, like, hey, good job. And it's amazing when you're a kid who's lost, had a severe learning disability, I was obese, I had glasses and braces, and, like, I was a lost kid. And if you're a lost kid and somebody sees you and goes, hey, good job, it can change your life. And so you saying that is, like, super powerful for me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, that's a great statement, and you guys touched on so much important points there. I want to quickly give a shout out to Roy Price, who just jumped up on the platform here. He is the founder of Amazon Studios, actually.
Hey,
Oh,
Roy,
hey.
how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Roy?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm amazing.
I do predict this is the year when more Hollywood talent, aspiring filmmakers and filmmakers around the world, when they're thinking of doing a project, think about starting a community first. Think about starting a Discord instead of just like calling your agent. Bringing the community together, and that can factor in demonstrating that people care about this project. And if you are going to go down the path of NFTs, and that's a part of the financing, or maybe just demonstrating demand that people care about this project, you've got this whole community, and they can maybe tell you whether like this is a good idea and create some validation for this whole thing. And it's a totally new Hollywood model, because it used to be it's just you and your agent and your manager, and that's kind of it. And but now I think we're going to see this model really change Hollywood. I think that this is going to be the year that it will be more common.
So like in my head, it makes sense too, because when I look at like past story, like shows and movies that have just like weathered, time, right? There's always like a cult following behind it of just like dedicated fans of the show. And like, what better way to have dedicated fans than to have those fans own like a part of the show, or be invested in the studio, or like have that like that NFT, that ownership that they can grab onto.
Yeah, and if you get somebody that has the ability, like Kevin Smith has the ability to, in an organic way, to build a community. Roy, I totally agree with you. I think that the problem is, and the question becomes, it'll be interesting to see, does Hollywood have the authentic sort of voice to say, we want to build an authentic community, we don't want to just pretend? Because I do think, I think that some of the NFTs that have been going in terms of like corporate NFTs are failing, because nobody wants the corporate shill. They want something authentic. And so the question is, can somebody come along and crack that code? And like, look, we're doing it now, but like if Kevin Smith comes along and was like, I'm building an NFT community, he will absolutely 100% crush.
Yeah,
because he
100%.
has that voice. Yeah, he has that voice.
Yeah, that's a really good example. And, there are many others. And, the time to create a community is now. Like, don't create it 5 minutes before you need to finance your movie.
Right.
Like, create it now and, have some stuff happening. And then, do some ideation and, and when the time comes and you've got your thing that you're going to do, figure out how you want your community to help. Maybe it's just express enthusiasm. Maybe it's, maybe they're your financial partners, or, maybe it's something else. But they can help. Particularly if you're, kind of an indie filmmaker or something like that. Like, maybe this doesn't matter as much for Michael Bay, but I think it'll be a big like by the end of the year, I don't think it will be unusual.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, not at all. And I got to say, Roy, props to you, because I remember when Amazon Studios started, you guys had that pilot program where you'd put up pilots and let people vote on which shows you'd make. And I thought that was just the coolest thing when that came out. I loved that program.
That's true. If only we had NFTs at the time, it would have been much, much better.
Right? Yeah.
And DAOs.
Forget about it.
Also, like, while we're on the topic of like this community building thing, we have Mel B up here too, who has one of the more like unique origin stories of getting into Web3, and is a singer and an artist herself. And I think it's a great parallel to like what happens when you kind of get a following right off the bat within the NFT world. Mel B, do you mind like just kind of describing that real quick?
Sure. Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy story. thanks again for bringing me up here. Always love chatting with you guys. So yeah, I'll introduce myself a little bit. I'm Mela B, a singer-songwriter from a small town in Toronto, Ontario area. And yeah, my introduction to crypto and NFTs was insane, just crazy. I was a Twitch streamer for about 4 months. That was when I decided to go all in on music. I graduated from my degree, had $6 in my bank account, and I couldn't find a job because of COVID. Everybody got laid off. I was applying and I just couldn't find anything. And I'm a musician as well, and I was like, okay, well, my parents aren't going to like this, but I'm just going to try and be a full-time musician. And I started streaming on Twitch just to see what would happen. My brother kind of encouraged me to start because I had so many originals, and he was like, man, you write good music. Like, just do it. I see so many musicians going on Twitch now. For those of you that don't know, Twitch is like a live streaming platform. So a lot of gamers go there and they just stream themselves playing video games and build a community of their own through that platform. So I was building my own community on there. Things were going pretty well. I was excited to have like 20 people watching me at a time. And yeah, 4 months in, on May 3rd of last year, 2021, a very famous person in the crypto world of crypto Twitter, randomly raided me with thousands of people. It was insane. I thought I was being spam. Like, I thought it was spam. I thought it was a bunch of bots coming in because that happens sometimes. So all of a sudden there's like thousands of people watching my Twitch stream, and everyone says, like, go check out Kobe live on Twitch. And I was like, okay. So I search up his name, and then there's another like few thousand people watching his stream, and he was broadcasting my stream. So there were quite a few people there. And then, so that made it real. I was like, okay, these are real people. Like, why are you here? Why are you hosting me with thousands of people? And he says, well, everybody in chat goes, download MetaMask. And I'm like, what the fuck is a MetaMask? Like, I had no idea, right? I had no idea what crypto, like, I knew what crypto was, but I didn't know anything about crypto. And honestly, at the beginning, I was not going to do it. I was like, I'm not going to download some random app to my phone. Like, what if this is like a way to, like, I was really paranoid. I didn't know what was going to happen, right? But then my friend messages me on Discord, and he's like, someone I trust messaged me, and he's like, dude, like, I have MetaMask, and there's nothing really wrong that can happen as long as you don't share your seed phrase. I didn't even know what a seed phrase was, but in like 5 seconds, he taught me what to do. And he's like, I think they're trying to send you crypto. I was like, okay, like, I'm not going to say no. So I downloaded MetaMask, and they like literally changed my life in a matter of an hour and a half. I had $6 in my bank account, and all of a sudden I was crypto rich. And like, I'm talking like 250,000. I don't need to lie to you guys about it because it's all over the internet. There's articles, like, you can find it.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's incredible. Insane. Holy crap.
By the way, Bill,
yeah, it was crazy.
Crypto Cobain, Kobe, like, because he was one of the honorary vamps.
Yeah, he was like one of the early ones.
Yeah, that's.
Was it him? Oh my god, that's incredible.
Yeah. So he literally him raiding me was my entry into crypto, because it wasn't like I could just be like, cool, I have all this crypto now. Like, I needed to eventually learn what to do with it and learn how to navigate this world. And suddenly I'm like, wait, some people sent me NFTs. What's an NFT? So I'm like asking so many questions. I had like 20 followers on Twitter that day. And all of a sudden now I've got like, I don't know, almost 20,000 followers on Twitter. And it's all from this. Like, it's most of my following. I don't really have a Web 2 following. Like, I was a small town musician streaming on Twitch for 4 months, right? I didn't have many followers. And all of a sudden I've got all these Web 3 followers, and I'm like, okay, I'm in a really unique position, because most musicians have Web 2 followers and they're trying to onboard those people into Web 3. I'm the opposite. I have Web3 followers, NFT and crypto degenerate followers, and I'm trying to like, yeah, I'm just trying to see like where to go from here, right? So ever since then, I've been learning, I've been growing, I've been like, I can finally breathe as a musician.
Sure.
Without having to work a 9-to-5 job, without having my parents on my back about like, well, you're not making any money, stuff like that, like is no longer an issue for me anymore, all thanks to this community. So I'm just trying to like figure out how to give back and like really like propel myself forward in this Web3 space. And it really aligns with a lot of what you guys are talking about today. And like my project is still in the works, but it does align with like your interests in this space. And I'm really excited about what you're talking about because I feel like we're on the same page about a lot of things.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. That's awesome. It's so good. And the best part about it is that you seem totally humble and like prepared to give back, and I don't know, it's good. I like it. That's good. That's goodness right there. Thank you
The
for
thing
sharing.
that really like fascinates me about it though is like you got that giant intro, right? And then you all of a sudden have all this following in the Web3 world and this direct connection to like this community that's very interested in like what you're doing. And I kind of find that parallel as well with like DeadHeads movie, Midnite Movie Club, like all that. Like you get you get fans, you get like dedicated people that are like, hey, I want this to succeed. I want to see this person build and keep growing and everything like that. But like that's the part that's really like exciting to me is like that connection to the community that all this builds.
If you build it, they will come. I'll use that corny Iowa movie, Field of Dreams, but like if you build it, they will come. Because
I constantly reference that. It's great.
I mean, for real though, because like if you can build a community and you know you have a vision and you get the right people behind it, they really are going to be the ones. They're your foundation. They're the ones that are lifting you up and pushing you further too. You know, you're going to want to continue to deliver. Like you said, Matthew, it's like you've never met these people in real life, but like they're friends now, right? Like they're actually like they feel like real friends because you're interacting with them every single day. And so that's what's also just wild and amazing in Web3 is that you're actually building real connections. And then when you get a chance to meet them in real life, it just takes it up times 10. I'd known Squirtle before I got to meet him live. Bennett, Jeremy, I met these guys in New York, but I felt like they were already like really good friends before that, just because of the community that we were building in DeadHeads. So that's just, I mean, again, if you build it, they will come. If you have the right community and the right vision, everything else it'll go along real well.
But I just want to say, I totally agree with you. You have to build it authentically. If you build it to flip and make money, then it's not going to come, right? And that's the thing. I think everything I keep hearing, right, is that there's an authenticness to this community that if you can find and lean into and honor, then you can do extraordinary things. Like there's, you know, the power of crypto and the power of the NFTs and Web3 is like it is just starting. And the idea that we're in early, all of us are so early in that, I don't know, the potential is boundless, which is exciting, and it puts us all on the grind, and I think it makes us, I think, build better and like be better people, and like I don't know, I think there's a responsibility to that. I mean, look,
I think.
Sorry,
I think you're totally right. I think the authenticity about this space is very different than I use Web 2 as the term, like just for lack of a better term, than the Web 2 world of being an artist, because well, firstly, like my example of my story, I don't think it's all about hype. Everybody keeps saying that hype is what you need for your project to succeed, but hype only lasts so long. An authentic community is what lasts and what creates a sustainable project. So as an example, after that raid, after Kobe raided me and I had that hype, I'm talking like maybe 2 to 3 weeks, like I was getting, my Twitter was blowing up because it was so fresh. And I probably could have launched an NFT project in that period of time. And it probably, everybody was telling me to. They're like, launch a project, just mint a song. I don't care what it is. Like, everybody was telling me to do it, but something didn't feel right about that. And I'm happy that I went with my gut, because later on I learned that if I did, sorry, excuse me, if I did that, that's it, that hype would eventually die down. And then I'm, back to square one. Whereas if I take my time and build a community and authentically make friends in this space, which is what I've spent so much time doing, months and months and months, almost a year now doing, then people aren't just investing in me because of some hype of something that happened, and they're just like, oh cool, yeah, I'm gonna drop some money on this. They're actually investing in me as an artist because they care, right? So that's why I think authenticity in this space is so important, because you want people to care. You want people to be interested in your project, and you as a person and your team, you want people to care about that stuff, because you don't want your project's momentum to last 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You want it to be a business, not just a project, right? So I think we need to move away from the term project and actually start thinking of these things as businesses.
I think that Web3, there's also a substantive difference between Web3 and Web2 in terms of the actual content. Like, Web3 feels to me much edgier and much more open to things that are different and new. It's not just the same stuff in a different context. Like, to me, Web2, like the mainstream streamers, has become pretty boring and just middle of the road, not taking a lot of chances. And I think, where is the next punk rock or hip hop or really the next new thing going to come from? And I feel confident that it is going to come from Web3, because like there's nothing out there that is kind of like feels like DeadHeads or has the vibe that is coming from Web3. And I feel like we're kind of at a low moment for creativity for sort of like mainstream TV, mainstream movies, and where the edge is, to me, or where it's going to be, is it's going to come from this very open sector.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm like so excited about, is it kind of like reminds me of, to throw it back to the movies I grew up with, like the 80s, and just like the crazy movies and stories and stuff that would come out, and just like seeing like how creative everything was and how long lasting those films are. I feel like this is kind of going back to that Wild West mentality, where it's like, hey, we can just make something because we want to. We don't need to ask permission. And yeah, as a filmmaker and a creative, it's just really exciting to me. And I'm very, very excited that we're able to bring the audience into it and have them participate, because at the end of the day, you write the movie, you direct it, you edit it, all of that is your part of the process. But once you release the movie, like, you kind of give up ownership of it, and it becomes the audience's. I mean, Matt can attest to this. Like, there's so many people that approach him with all the different movies he's been in, and they all have their different ownership of that film and how it changed their lives and stuff. So having those people have that in their life from the get-go, from development, from pre-production, all the way through, I just think that's a really special opportunity that's gonna, I don't know, just gonna change the game, and we're gonna see a lot of really interesting stuff coming out of the space.
Yeah, I think that, like, Web3 is like, it's big, but it's so accessible that when you think about where do things come from that are real game changers, like from small clubs where it's really easy to get on stage, and suddenly, the Circle Jerks come on stage, and you have, the Sex Pistols, and suddenly you have punk rock, or the Wu-Tang Clan or something, and something really new is happening. And that doesn't happen when you have a $500 billion company with 150 people who work in development, and there's a whole bureaucracy, and they're spending $15 billion a year. It's very, very hard to really break new ground culturally. And here it's so accessible that I think in terms of music and movies and stuff like that, you're gonna find a lot more that is exploring the edge. And some of it won't work, but I think the stuff that is going to be remembered is really likely to come from the space.
I think that's so good, dude. I think exactly what you're preaching is so good. I just think that, look, there are, if you're $1 billion, you know, if you're Marvel or if you're Netflix and you have a barrier for entry because you can't take everyone because you have to produce things that make money because you have a bottom line that has to be met. If you go Web3 and there's none of that, and the only thing standing between you and the creative process is your ass doing it, and it doesn't, look, the creative process doesn't always have to find success for it to be successful. I'll say it again. You do not have to find success for it to be successful. If you're out in the audience and you're listening to this shit, go, whatever's in the back of your mind, go do it. Because if that doesn't work, you will find somebody it works for, and then you'll be on the same vibe, and then shit gets better the next time you do it. And that can't happen in the industry as it is now. It can't because people are trying to make money. But if you just do things for the creative process, if you go back to the 10,000 hours, I'm just trying to be a creative person that's collecting hours to mastery. I'm just trying to speak my truth and put it in the world. Dude, I mean, this is the wild, wild west, and you can do it. And if it finds, like, look, I mean, everything you're saying, Colby, is that no, it wasn't. No, it's Mela B. Everything you were saying is that what you were spitting, like, people didn't give you all that because you weren't good. It means they found you and you were incredible. So there's no reason why anyone out there who's listening to this can't do their thing and find success. Speaking your truth, being your individuality, like putting that in the universe, that's how you blow up. And you can't do it in the standard operating procedure. You just can't. So sorry, Melody. I'm following you now, by the way. I'm following you. I can't wait to see what you do next. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's what you just said is something that I try to tell people because I know, like, I don't even like talking about that story a lot of the time because I know that it can put this sour taste in some people's mouth where they're like, well, that's not going to happen to me. That's a once in a lifetime chance. And I've heard that from people before. So I sometimes shy away from it unless I'm asked to like talk about it. So thanks for like bringing that up, Squirtle. But like, I also with that like to tell people that the only reason that happened is because I took a chance on myself. And if you don't take chances like that and put your all, like I was streaming probably too long. Like I was streaming every single day. And that night I was so exhausted and I was like, man, I don't want to stream tonight. Like I was tired of going online and like, you know, just feeling like I was tired of my parents looking at me like, are you okay? Like, are you doing this because you want to? You're exhausted. You're not making much money. Like, I was just tired of that. And I didn't want to like disappoint people. But at the same time, I had this feeling in my gut, like, you need to just take a chance on yourself. So I took that chance. And this is what happens when you take chances on yourself and do what you want to do. So, and like, one of my biggest goals, sorry for rambling, but I'm just really passionate about this. One of my biggest goals in this space is to create an artistic environment for the next generation of children to be able to go to their families and say, I want to be an artist. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to be a musician. I want to be all those jobs that your parents would look at you and say, yeah, okay. Right? I want that to be viable. Like I want those kids to be able to say that and their parents to look at them and say, that's awesome. Go do it. That's all I want. So if I can do that and like create that environment with the help of other people, then to me, that's successful.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I'm a tech person, so I'm going to bring it back to tech a little bit. But like the fact that there is this like decentralized place that everyone can just be like, you know, like no matter what, you can't stop me. I'm going to upload something. I'm going to mint something. I'm going to create something on this, like on this tech, I think is like really what is the root to like all of these ideas that we have and everything that we're building right now and everything like that. And honestly, like people don't, you really won't need like a millions of followers to like make a living like in this Web3 space. Like you can do it with like a few thousand, you can do it with a few hundred even. Like as long as you have some people that like really support you and are invested in what you're doing, like you're going to be just fine. It's crazy when you remove a middleman and you get like direct to creative funding for once.
I think that what you just said there, Squirtle, too, is what drives home what Roy was touching on, and that's, you know, going after some stuff that's a little more edgy, and that's a musician, that's an artist, that it could be photography, it could be really anything, because you're not worried about that middleman. You're just finding that direct, you know, connection with your collector, and I think that's just a wonderful thing because it does allow you to you know, like run your own race, and like you said, Matthew, if you want to put the time and effort in, then do it, because somebody out there is going to connect with you if you continue to put in that, you know, 110% energy and make it your true art, whatever that may be. And it doesn't have to be all the same, which is, I like that. Like you can be your own thing. I did have a question DM to me, Matthew, and Midnite Movies. Someone DM me specifically. One second. Will people be able to mint behind the scenes kind of stuff along the way as NFTs? Maybe like bonuses for holders, maybe? So behind the scenes type things.
The behind the scenes stuff, we're just going to be kind of giving away to the community. We do have some fun airdrops planned throughout the process. I don't want to go too much into the detail of it because it's like some fun surprises that we're going to reveal later. But yeah, there will be some exclusive stuff throughout the process for sure.
You know, that just made me think of a question too. Do you think you guys might do some, you know how like, so Hollywood movies have product placement, right? Like, but in people that are in your community collect NFTs and they might have the IP rights to some NFTs, like maybe there could be like, not, you know, not take away from the story or what you're doing, but like maybe, you know, a sticker on a laptop or something could be that NFT, or on the screen, you know, if it fits, like not taking away from the story. I don't know. That's one fun thing maybe you could do too.
Yeah, I actually have something planned for the first movie that we're going to do that's going to involve NFTs in the movie and then like a contest in the real world. So that's going to be kind of fun to play with. Again, I won't say too much about it, but yeah, I'm very excited to announce that after the movie's done.
Yeah, I mean, that's been one of the more fun things over at DeadHeads is including other projects in the episodes. And hopefully in the future, we can integrate that with our staking platform as well. But I think there's so much power in like just like bringing the communities into like whatever you're building and involving all of us in like these particular projects and future businesses don't need to be isolated within our communities, right? Like we should be reaching out and enjoying each other's content and like spreading the word and everything like that.
It never, I have to tell you, it never even occurred to me until this conversation tonight. And I feel like the learning curve, I mean, Bill, we talk about it every day. Is like every day in NFTs feels like a week, and a week feels like a year. And I'm learning so much, and I feel like, you know, the idea of that had never even crossed my mind. So it's super exciting to be able to involve other communities in our community, not just like this, but to actively put it into like movies and stuff is genius. The dead space in between talking gets me nervous.
Dude, right there with you, I'm telling you.
I'm like, oh my God.
It's about to go into like our whole future of DeadHeads over here.
Am I like letting people down by not filling every space with my loud voice?
And I'm always waiting for someone else to talk.
I'm like, I always, yeah.
Is your voice? Excited. Your voice is so like iconic and recognizable. Everybody just wants to hear it.
Oh my God. Well, at least, yeah. It's so nice talking about NFTs. We keep doing like these movie nights, and I keep talking about myself for like an hour and a half, and it's exhausting. I'm exhausting.
No, I think. Phil, actually, you're unmuted after you.
Yeah, just really quick. You know, Matthew, you kind of talked about it earlier. I love the idea of doing different genre films because you said, you know, obviously there's multiple films that will be in the works with this project, and I love that, like being able to kind of throw a couple different darts at a couple different genres that maybe aren't, like you said, overplayed and overproduced maybe in this moment in our lives right now. And so, like, I'm a big horror film fan. Like, I've always loved horror film. When I was a young kid, even now, my wife hates them, but I love them. And so I love the fact that you're kind of, digging into some of those genres that don't get as much love at the current state of Hollywood.
Yeah, the idea is fun, right? Our North Star in this company is like, what do we do that's awesome, and can we go do it? And does the community agree? And so horror movies, like, look, we have 3 movies that we want to make in the next year and a half. They're all, low budget films, but you can make a great horror movie at a low budget, right? It can be done. And so, our next job is to go out. We've got the first movie going. Our next job is to go out and find the collection of filmmakers that we can put our faith in as producers, that that have great scripts and great ideas, and then bring those sort of 3 to 5 filmmakers back to the community, being good with all the movies that, any one of the movies that they choose will be good to make. But they all have to sort of fit within this budget range, right? That's the good thing about these genre films, is that you can make a really cool movie for not that much money.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm the kind of person, like, I watch a lot of foreign and indie films. I go out of my way to try and find something new and fresh. So I'm glad to see that you're taking, like, this approach, and I'm really looking forward to see what you produce. I think too that it helps, with who you are in your background, that you have, people can, versus, just any person doing this, not to say that anybody couldn't, but like, you actually have some experience, in these things, and what it takes to produce a movie and what's involved in it. And I think that will help too. People feel more confident, like, this is actually, this is possible. We can do this.
Yeah, oh, for sure. That's for sure. And look, it's so funny because we haven't minted yet, right? I mean, we're still like, it's all going great, and moments like this totally help. I mean, but there is that thing of like, in the back of your mind, you just want to get out there and prove that you can do it. But we first have to sell 5,555 NFTs for the privilege to go make the movies, right? And so, it's just, I know that we can do it. I'm excited to do it. It's just, the thing that I'm worried about, and look, I mean, maybe you guys can share, especially for somebody out there who's like considering, like, we've done a lot of like inspirational talk tonight about shit people can do, but like, how do you, like, what if you had to give us 3 suggestions on how to get to minting, like, what would your recommendations be, not only for us but for everyone else out there?
I don't know, Phil or Squirtle, you want to start that off?
I mean, my biggest thing that I would say is I think what you're doing right now is the right way to go about it. We've kind of touched on that a little bit already, but you are, building this community. You're rallying the troops, if you will, and it's not just to sell it out and then leave. It's you're building those relationships, which I think is uber important. I was so bullish on DeadHeads back in June because I got to know Jeremy and Tempo and a bunch of the other members that were already in there and vibing before the project even came out. And I love the idea of obviously decentralized animated series. And so I also love the idea here where I'm an educator in real life. I teach music and theater at a middle school and high school in Dallas, Fort Worth. And so, the thought that you'll bring in these professionals, these people that can help others in your community, learn a little bit more about costume design or learn a little bit more about directing. And like, that to me is a really, really cool benefit for your community, because along the way they can take some of that knowledge, even if it's just as a passion project for them, they can get some more knowledge and better themselves in whatever, field or hobby that they possess. So I think those are the 2 things that jump out to me first and foremost. I think, and again, you guys are very new to me, Matthew. I've seen you in movies, so this is really cool. And Scream, I remember Scream. Definitely a fan.
Right on. Thank you.
What I would say is Twitter Space is the best for me, in my opinion, to get to know more about the project and the people behind it, and having them, even a limited time where it's an hour long or something, and you guys are hosting it and you're talking about whatever topic it may be, but then having a short Q&A session where people can give you that feedback, can give you, just some comments, and if they have concerns. Jumping into spaces like this one where, DeadHeads, we're hosting this with ERC and you guys as well. But I think, cross-platform or cross-collaboration with these projects that have already, made their space. Like, I'm very bullish on DeadHeads long term. They've already delivered so much, and so like having these communities combine and I don't know, like, sorry, my son's shutting the door. I think I don't know what he's doing, letting our dog out or something.
He's through with you.
Yeah, he is. He's like, stop talking.
I have one of those
I'm trying to watch
sons,
Snoopy. I'm trying to watch Snoopy. Stop talking. No, I think just spaces like this and letting people hear about your story and opening it up for conversation and dialogue, I think, is imperative, because what you'll do is you'll get the best feedback and the most real feedback. And of course, there can be trolls occasionally, but if you have people that are really well adept at running a space, then that won't happen as much. And so I would just say, tip of the cap on some of the ideas you already have, and I look forward to continuing to watch what you guys got going. That's what I've got for you.
I got to throw one thing in there real quick too, and this is like for any project as well, but spend the money and find good devs. Like, a lot of times it's easy to like be like, hey, I'm going to find a dev that's going to do it for like 1 ETH. I'll get my contract and I'm off and going on the creative side, right? Like, the importance of having like devs that actually know what they're doing when they're writing contracts, know what they're doing when they're building out the front end, is one of the more like underappreciated things in the space, in the NFT space at least, that I've been seeing. I think there's a lot of like assumptions that like, oh, you just make a contract and you get an NFT up, but behind it is there's like very few amazing developers in this space.
Coming from Amazon, I can tell you that's an excellent idea. Get some good devs. It won't work otherwise. But, I think one other format, Matthew, I wonder if you think this would work, but I expect it to take off, is people form communities with kind of more than one person, like, 5 filmmakers or 4, because it can be a lot for one person to sort of tend to, particularly when they're making a movie. But if there are 4 or 5 who are kind of in the same genre, maybe, there can be a lot for people to engage with, and it could really catch on. I mean, we'll have to see, but I kind of think that could work. Like, if you had an indie movie group or something and everybody was sort of simpatico, I could imagine it could be sort of cool. If it was in Discord, you could have screenings, whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely on sort of the roadmap. Like, can you host film challenges? Can you host competitions? Can you host screenings of other people's work? Can you bring other people, other communities in to screen their work? So yeah, that's definitely on our roadmap.
Yeah, and going back to the devs topic, we were really lucky. We're going to have the Sneaky Vamp dev team is going to be doing our contract. So Freddie and Wolf, and it actually just timed out perfectly. Like, when I was meeting with Matt to tell him about this project, that they announced, they were launching Latency Labs, which is a service that they're offering to build contracts for people. So definitely check out their company if you have a project you're looking at. Their team is like one of the best out there, so highly recommend them.
Yeah, I'd like to let Squirrel get a peek under the hood on some of that stuff, because I've told him about how they did the Ghost Bridge, and they've been staking the blood on Ethereum, and they swapped it to Polygon. Like, they're definitely, I feel like not enough people know like how tech heavy and how awesome that dev team is yet, and some of the things that they're doing, and that side gets me excited as well, and that's awesome to hear that you guys have them in your corner.
Because like I'll be honest, when I look at projects, I look at the dev team. I think you can kind of see it with Doodles. You can see it with Cool Cats, Board Ape Yacht Club. Like, when you look at those projects, you're like, oh no, like the dev side of things is like solid. It's handled. And I think that's one of the like more underrated aspects. But yeah, I'm also a techie, so I love that stuff.
Also, I did, or we did invite Mela so she could serenade you, Matt, perform a song for you before we close out the space.
Oh, that is awesome. I need everyone to leave. It's just Mela and I. That's so super cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oh my goodness. I almost just ripped my charger out of the wall. Yeah, so I've got a couple options. Would you prefer a cover or an original? Or both?
Original for sure.
Okay. All right.
Well, what do you want to sing? That's what my purpose would be. But what do you like? What in this moment? What are you feeling?
I don't know. I'm down for the original. If you guys have time and are interested, I would love to play this cover for you after. If you're down to hear more. I don't want to take up too much time or space, but like I really like this cover just because I think it speaks to, in my brain, it speaks to a lot of like just the overall values of Web3. And the lyrics just kind of hit me in a different way. So, but yeah, I'll start off with my original if that's cool.
Word.
All right. So the song's called One Thing, Not You. You don't know me like you want to, and I'm sorry, but I don't think you ever will. No, you don't know the full truth, and it's funny that you seem to think you do. 'Cause I got one thing on my mind. I've got one thing on my mind. I've got one thing on my mind, and it's not you. You don't need me like you say you do. Trust me, baby, I can't be the one to pull you through. You just tease me and you make me feel so small. So why should I put you on a pedestal? 'Cause I got one thing on my mind. I've got one thing on my mind. I got one thing on my mind, and it's not you, no. It's not you, no. I've got one thing on my mind. I've got one thing on my mind. I got one thing on my mind, and it's not you. I guess I'm just bad at writing love songs. In fact, I don't think that I've ever written one at all. It's just when I feel like it's my time to fall, you come around and prove that I was better on my own. 'Cause I got one thing on my mind. I've got one thing on my mind. I've got one thing on my mind, and it's not you, no. It's not you, no. I've got one thing on my mind. I've got one thing on my mind. I got one thing on my mind, and it's not you.
Yeah! That was awesome. Hell yes.
That was amazing.
I'm clapping for all the people that can't be heard. I'm clapping for you guys. That was awesome.
Oh, love it.
Thanks, guys. Glad you enjoyed that. I had fun.
Yeah, so did I. You guys, thank you for hosting this. Thank you for having us. Thank you for the conversation. It was really, really awesome. It was lovely. Thank you.
Dude, it was great having everyone up here. Like, I think this was a really fun space overall. Like, it's nice to get, a couple projects that are, in the same space, doing the same stuff. And like, as we keep like working together, keep building this thing, yeah, it's going to be exciting where we all are in like 3 years too.
Amen.
But with that, I think we're going to be wrapping up here with that amazing live music, all the amazing talk during the space. I'm looking forward to doing more spaces like this with everyone here in the future. Maybe we'll get some crossover collabs in between DeadHeads and Midnite Movie Club and EARC. Who knows? But Phil, do you want to take us out here?
Can I just want to say real quick that I've been watching our Discord, and I've seen comments like, I've found my second favorite community. Like, people just seem really excited and have been thanking us for putting, being part of this space and getting to hang out with you. So don't be surprised if you see some old apes coming into MMC and DeadHeads Discord.
Oh yeah, we can't wait. Please send them our way, and we want to offer you guys some whitelist spots too to give away to your community. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, we just love you guys are supporting us, and we want to give back any way we can.
Yeah, and I would just say again, thank you for everyone for being here. This is just the starting line. I like to always say that, but it really is. We're talking early steps here, and even with DeadHeads, we're almost through season 1. Whoop whoop! But there's so much more to go, and there's such a longer roadmap here, and so make sure that you are getting into the Discord, creating these communities that we all fall in love with, and giving feedback. That can be constructive criticism too. So if you've got an idea or something you think that needs to be changed, don't be afraid to speak out in a positive manner, because in the end, the teams do want to be here. The real teams, the ones that you want to be a part of, they're here to build something wonderful with you, not without you. It is a team collaborative effort. And so I just want to say thank you. And again, we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. Look, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you have that creative impulse to do something, the only thing stopping you is fear, and fear doesn't serve you. So I don't know, go make something happen. And just thank you to our community this year and showed up. Thank you for your community that showed up. We're just really grateful. So
as we say in Colorado, just send it.
Send it. Awesome. All right. Much love, guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Thanks, guys. Take care.